I'm still here. Today I'm going to provide you with some updates on how Nano went, my book sales, and some of my future plans. Hello there, my name is Tanya and I'm an independent author from Canada. I am sharing with you all kinds of stuff of what I'm learning along my journey as an independent author. Let's talk first about Nano. Nano 2022 was probably one of the most productive nanos I've ever had. Yes, all the other nanos I have accomplished my 50,000 word goal. However, I finished early. I finished on November 24th. It was perfect timing because I had an unexpected business trip for my job to Jamestown, North Dakota. And this kind of freed up those last couple days of Nano for me to go on this trip. So I worked on my high fantasy novel called Blood Rose. It seems to be growing in size, this project, as I've been working on it for 2 nanos now, and it is still not done. I also learned how much more productive I am when I listen to instrumental music while I'm writing. So near the end of November, I also had a vendor market. It was the Christmas sale in Selkirk, Manitoba, and it went really well. I sold approximately 30 books. I pretty much sold out of all of my crime thriller books except for 2, but I sold full sets, a total of 25 booklets. I also sold 2 living undiagnosed copies, which led into some really interesting conversation about health and anxiety. One of these conversations was with a really friendly old man, and he talked to me for over an hour. I also sold about 2 copies of the new recipe journal that I designed, and it actually brought in a lot of people and a lot of interest, and I had a lot of compliments on the idea to create this journal. And because of Christmas coming, it was a great stocking stuffer idea. I also sold books that I myself didn't publish. I sold 1 Voices copy for the Lake Winnipeg Writers Group, and I also sold a new, but purchased already, a used book, I guess you can say. And I sold it for a huge discount, and so the person was nice enough to give me a $1 tip. Overall, the table cost me $70 Canadian, which is 2 to 3 times more than I usually pay for a vendor market table, but considering it was Selkirk's biggest Christmas craft sale, I decided it would be worth trying it out. So after the cost of the table, I profited about $61 Canadian. So let's move on to my future plans. For writing, I have 4 projects on the go, because I always like to take on more than I can actually handle. So the first one that I've talked about quite often is my high fantasy novel called Blood Rose. I was hoping to have it 100% done by the end of Nano, but it's not. It's a fantasy novel and there's so much going on and more than I had anticipated. 300 Man. Now this story I have published episodes, so to speak, in the Lake Winnipeg Writers Group release of Voices. However, I have decided to take all those episodes, put them together, and do some rewriting, improvements, and continue the story. It may end up being a novella size. The third project that I've worked on off and on, my Red Crime Thriller collection, I felt like it wasn't where I wanted it to be, and it was my first series of publications. So I've put it all together, I'm improving it. I've also found my favorite character who showed up in actually 2 of the stories. So I'm taking this character and I'm adding more of her perspective in between each section of the story to kind of merge it together so that it makes more sense to the reader. And the 4th project is called Red River Man. I wrote this book for a contest in the Lake Winnipeg Writers Group Voices release, and I won 2nd place. I've had a few people come to me and ask me to continue the story, to say what's going to happen next. So I also have that on my list of things to do. I haven't started that yet. Low content books. So I have released a number of notebooks, YouTube planner guides, that kind of stuff, just kind of played with it for, potential future additional income. I haven't been making a lot. I did make some at the beginning, but I haven't been continuing to upload, so I haven't really been selling much. But because this recipe journal had brought a lot of attention at the craft market sale, I'm probably going to turn this into a larger recipe journal and then also upload that to KDP to sell. All right, out there business, the fun part. I need to start documenting my income and expenses over the past 6 months because I kind of just stopped in the summer. So I need to get all of this ready because income tax time in Canada is early in the new year, and I would rather start it sooner than later. So I'm not scrambling last minute. I also need to stay on top of my website, because I tend to forget to put some sort of a posting on there every once in a while and perhaps share what my projects are that I'm working on, as well as any kind of publications that are out there. So I've mentioned this in other videos, but I'm also doing some more research and studying on book formatting using Word. I'm learning a lot of new tricks, which is super fun. And I'm going to be building a bunch of macros using VBA code, and I'm going to make the process a lot simpler. If I can get this to the point where it's simple, it's fast, it's easy, it may potentially become a future income. I could offer it as a service to other authors. In terms of my YouTube channel, let's talk about this podcast that I have. I'm not really great at doing interviews, like in-person, face-to-face interviews. At least it was never really in my plan to do so. So my podcast, I pay for my podcast so that it will automatically upload to YouTube. However, these videos don't get much attention at all on my channels other than a few of my subscribers, which I really appreciate. But I feel like the cost and the time just isn't valuable enough for me to continue doing this. So I'm going to cancel my paid subscription for my podcast. And I don't know for sure if I'm going to continue to upload podcast episodes. I may do so in the future as time allows, but for the time being, I'm kind of putting it on hold. I'm going to continue collecting AuthorTube interview videos and merging them to full videos on my YouTube channel because I feel like it's really fun. It's great to learn from other authors and get new ideas. And yeah, so I'm going to continue that in 2023. Now, recently I've acquired some new software that helps with planning your book. I have yet to test it out, but as I do, I'm going to start releasing videos on this specific software, and hopefully it'll give you some idea as to how it works. In terms of my video release, I might be doing weekly, but depending on the schedule and my health, I may end up doing bi-weekly videos. I'm just going to have to see how much content I have. Health-wise, well, it has been the usual roller coaster. Our hockey schedule is chaotic. My work has been extremely busy. Also, personal life stuff is happening behind the scenes. So I feel like my anxiety levels are really high, and I've really been struggling this past week. Some new symptoms have arisen where my whole body gets jittery and jerky while I'm trying to move around and do stuff in the house. It doesn't do this every day, but on Sunday I did have a very rough day at home. This stops me sometimes also from traveling to work. It's about a 40-minute drive, so I've been working from home a lot more. I'm hoping that this rough patch passes and that I'm able to move on. The most important thing that I remind myself is to never give up. There's going to be rough days. I have to accept that. Sometimes it can be depressing, it can be frustrating, and it also increases my anxiety levels because I'm so angry at times that I can't do the things I want or need to do as a mother, as a wife, as a homeowner. But that's okay. I just have to get over those rough patches and continue on in life. I'm not going to give up. So let me know how your Nano went, what you're working on right now, what your future plans are, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day, afternoon, evening, night, or whatever, and happy writing.